Hello, this is Corncod One of Nationalist News and Notes. Today my little verbal mini essay is going to be entitled, Will the U.S. Foolishly Invade Iran? I am fairly confident that Mr. Trump will not attack or invade Iran. I use the word fairly only because there are some policy preferences held by the president that may mitigate for war. Trump is inclined to be an anti-interventionist, but if some idiot like Mike Pompeo is whispering in his ear and putting pressure on him, he might be persuadable. His desire to please the Israeli lobby is also another weakness. As I write this, I just heard that Trump is increasing troop numbers in Saudi Arabia. Why do we need to help the Saudis for? Their military is well equipped, and yes, full of cowards. It was kind of fun watching the starving Houthi rebels, who still use a lot of obsolete World War II tanks and armored vehicles, continually eat their lunch on the battlefield. Did the Iranians attack the Saudi oil facility? Yes, probably. But I would not exclude the possibility that it was some devious plot involving the Saudi-Israeli axis and the Western intelligence community. The spook community in the U.S. are crazed warmongers and will cooperate with the military-industrial complex to do anything to get us into another conflict in the Middle East or West Asia. The only people opposing war are Trump and the American people, minus the followers of the dubious C.I. Schofield. But just like 9/11, which was a Mossad CIA operation, the warmongers will use all their power and influence to get another war going. Iran will be a tougher nut to crack than Iraq, who with a Shiite majority will be allied with them in the conflict. Oh sure, American tanks will roll into Tehran at some point, but the situation will be similar to Napoleon reaching Moscow in 1812. We will be faced with a 20-year-plus guerrilla conflict that will be worse than Afghanistan. Why worse? It'll be worse because, unlike the Afghan war, the Iranian people will be united. There are some small Iranian minority groups, both in religion and ethnicity, but the country is not a jumble of diverse languages and ethnic groups like Afghanistan is. Another thing to consider is that the Iranians can fight. One good thing about being on the cusp of being elderly is that I can actually remember the Iran-Iraq War of 1980-1988. Most military experts, the folks that always clamor for conflict, were absolutely certain that Iraq would win the war. Iran was under U.S. sanctions. The U.S. supported Saddam Hussein and bet on him as a winner. Since most of the Arab world is Sunni rather than Shiite, Iraq had at least the subtle support of most Islamic countries. Both sides fought bravely. Iraq took a lot of territory initially. Iran then gradually took almost all their land back. If an Iranian offensive was slowing down, they would use massive human wave attacks carried out by thousands of barely trained civilian volunteers armed mostly with bolt-action rifles. Do we really want to involve ourselves in a war like this? How many body bags and warriors in wheelchairs do we need to see before we stay out of such useless wars? This is Corncod One of Nationalist News and Notes, signing off.